Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I am the Inconsequential Runner, and with us we have Coach Mark. Hello, Coach Mark.
Hi, Darcy. How are you going?
Yeah, going great. Going great. Now, usually at this point, Coach Mark, I give a bit of an intro about this series that we're doing with you and all the questions and da. But I'm going to jump straight into it because we've got a big one today. Carbon plated shoes. Ah, so okay, a little bit of history here. So I'm relatively new to running. Well, no, I've run all my life, but I'm relatively new to, I suppose, having a running regimen where I want to take it as far as I can, and that's been the last 3 years. And then, of course, I've come across the Vaporflies, and it's not just the Vaporflies. There's a whole bunch of shoes that have carbon plates in them, and I get them for racing, but I bought some carbon plated shoes, like the Zoom Fly for training, and these things do not bend. And I just wonder, is it too much for me for training? Am I wasting my time on these things? Because I don't seem to be getting the most out of them. They're not flexing, they're not bending, so they feel really sort of cloppy. Would that
Yep.
be the expression? I don't know.
Yep.
But Coach Mark, I suppose I don't really have a question for you. I'm just going to throw it to you in
Mm.
terms of your thoughts on carbon shoes, when we should use them, when we shouldn't use them,
Mm.
what we should consider, because they're still new to us. And I think we're still trying to learn what is their role, especially as a tool during training. So, Coach Mark, what would you want to share with us about what we should be thinking about carbon shoes?
Yeah, I mean, you probably have more experience than me. I've never worn carbon shoes yet, so that's something else I've yet to do. Maybe when I get out of my sort of jogging phase at the moment, I might fork out on some. But I've certainly followed all the talk about them, both here and with all my old running mates over in the UK as well. And they certainly seem to be a bit of a game changer, and they're here to stay as well. It seems pretty clear that they do offer assistance, but I mean basically, again, which we've talked about in another video. You look at running speed as cadence times stride length. Well, carbon fiber shoes give you more spring. So there's your stride length there. Again, a little bit of extra stride length with every stride is going to add up to running faster. And also because with the carbon fiber and the fresh foam that these shoes use as well, they give such good energy return, as they call it. So it requires less energy to actually propel yourself off the ground each time. So the legs are fresher as well. So
Yeah.
those two things,
And
yeah.
have you heard or have you seen in your reading about any propensity to put extra strain on some parts of the body? I have heard that the calf muscles, there can be extra strain on those. That hasn't really been my experience, but I
Mm.
have, and anyone who knows me, I've got the world's smallest calf muscle. So I don't think I even use my calf muscles to run. I don't know how I run. I don't know how it works. But anyway, what have you
Yeah,
heard in terms of propensity for injuries? I don't want to sort of draw a
yes,
correlation between the two, but there might be some muscles that disproportionately are
yeah,
worked in carbon shoes. Have you heard anything like that, or anything we need to be conscious of?
yeah, yeah. What I've heard, yeah, it does work the calf muscles more, which it changes your style slightly.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and calves, Achilles, the things that seem to crop up, or front of the knee as well. So maybe that's just landing slightly differently. Uh, yeah, so they're the main, but it's interesting you said your calves don't there's people that obviously report their calves get bigger wearing
Yeah,
them.
I haven't. Well,
So it is
okay,
an
that hasn't
individual
worked for
thing, isn't
me,
it?
and I haven't felt a burn. How often do I use carbon shoes? No more than carbon plated shoes, no more than
Mm.
once a week. So I was using the
Yeah,
Zoom Flies, and I don't think that's a
yeah.
carbon plate. I think it's nylon. I'm not sure,
Mm.
but it's still got a pretty rigid plate in it. And I just found it was just a bit clumpy. And so when I was doing the rest periods between intervals and warming up and warming down in them, because I'd run somewhere to do my intervals, I found them just a little bit hard work. But
Mm.
for that reason, because they were hard work, I used them once a week because it really changed things up and it did make me run differently. So I
Yep.
don't think that's
Yep.
a bad thing. And they are
No, no.
heavy and hard to run in. And I still think
Mm.
that's a good thing because in my cycling days, I used to put the heaviest wheel set on my racing bike. So when it came to races and I put my light wheel set on, I felt brilliant. So I'm a big
Yeah.
fan of that. But yeah, no, that's interesting. Any
Yeah, yeah,
feedback or anything you've
and
heard?
I
Or?
guess in training as well as that variety, I guess the
Yeah,
value you get there would be recovery. Was that one of the reasons that you might recover quicker from a session?
yeah. Look, I've heard that, and when I heard that the recovery for people was much faster, I started to make a note in my journal about how my legs
Mm.
felt the next day, and I think there's something in that because my legs were, and again, the carbon plated shoes that I was using for training, and that's on the Thursday night intervals you get me to do, Coach Mark. I was using the Zoom Flies, and my legs were feeling pretty good the next day. I think comparative to other shoes, where my
Mm.
legs felt a little bit dead going into my rest day, as you know, which is
Mm.
Friday. So I do think they made a bit of a difference, but not so much where if I didn't have my carbon plated shoes with me for the Thursday night session, I wouldn't worry about it. Wouldn't be a big,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
wouldn't be a reason not
yeah,
to go out for a run. So,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, generally, but for the people that I know that have it, they generally wear them for racing and don't wear them for training. So it's quite interesting, yeah, that you wear them for training occasionally. I mean, I think that would be the main reason to wear them for training. Um, and yes, and it's being a bit careful because they are very rigid. Of course, there's no bend in the foot. So
yeah,
yeah, you generally I'd advise saving them for the special races. Basically, bring them out like a secret weapon. There's no real benefit in wearing them for speed and training, really. I mean, unless you're doing a real race simulation session
yeah,
where you want to totally mimic your race and wear everything that you're going to wear in a race. So they're
yeah,
quite good to have something like that to put on. This is the special race of putting these on now. This has a lot more importance to me than
yep.
other things. I'm going to wear the appropriate gear. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. So, as I say, I was using them on Thursday nights, but I'm just thinking back now. I don't think I've used them for a month since. I've just sort of
Mm.
switched to another shoe. I've got about 3 or 4 shoes I switch between, so I don't
Yeah.
feel overly
Yeah.
wedded to using them for training. But yeah, certainly for racing. Well, I don't know. I don't think you can get a race shoe without a carbon plate in it now. If it's a
Pretty
top
hard
line
now.
shoe, it comes with a plate. I don't know if there's any top
Yes.
line shoes without. I'm just trying to think. But
Yeah.
okay. All
Just
right.
the
Well,
right, and some people, and again, the some people have reported huge increases in their, in all abilities actually. Some people have said they haven't really had much at all.
no.
It seems to be linked to technique. So if your technique isn't possibly as good, in that when you wear the palm fiber shoes, you might get loads of spring, and it might propel you upwards rather than forwards, for example. So you could see that wouldn't benefit you quite so much, and your cadence might slow down, to balance it up. And it's
Yeah.
in which case you're not there's no net gain there either.
No, for
So
sure.
that'd be the reasons. But if you've got good technique and you're propelling yourself forward, it just stands to reason you would likely run quicker.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I think if I was to offer any advice, especially to anyone, say, not new to running, but new enough where they don't have a shoe rotation of, say, 4 shoes,
Yeah.
which is your easy run, your daily trainer, and then your race shoe, and then maybe your a trail shoe. I would say, look, I wouldn't bother getting a carbon plated one for training. I wouldn't. It'll come in your race shoe, but I wouldn't use it for training. And all of my training sessions, most weeks don't have it. As I say, every so often on a Thursday night down in Hagley Park in Christchurch, I might have it for that. But Tuesday night, excuse me. But anyway, that doesn't matter. Okay, Coach Mark, anything
Yeah.
else So that would be my last 2 cents on it. That you really you don't need it. It'll be there in your race shoe anyway, but you don't need it for your training shoe.
I often
Last
think as
thoughts?
well in training, you try and make the training should be harder so that your racing is easier as well. So using that that mindset, I would tend to keep it to the racing. Yeah.
No, agreed. Coach Mark, thank you so much. Couple of really good insights on that. And for those then, I think watching that are trying to save up your pennies for a carbon plated trainer, and if you're 50-50 on it, look, just save yourself the money and save it for some entry to races or other stuff. There's better ways to use it. Coach Mark, thanks for joining us. If you're watching, you know what to do. No hard sell. If you want to stay in the loop, hit subscribe. We'll keep you in the loop. If you like this video and you got something out of it, hit like. It's helpful for us. If you want to get in touch with Coach Mark, his details are in the show notes, the video notes, and also I'll put them in the comments if you want to reach out to Coach Mark and be trained by Coach Mark. Otherwise, that's it. I'm saying goodbye, Coach Mark.
Yeah, bye from me as well.
All right, team. Catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.
All right. See ya.